What if a single narrow passage of water, smaller than many cities, suddenly stopped working? No oil tankers, no energy shipments, no fuel moving across continents. Within days, global markets could panic, fuel prices could skyrocket, and entire economies could feel the shock. This is the story of the Strait of Hormuz, the most important shipping chokepoint on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz lies between Iran in the north and Oman in the south. It connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the open ocean beyond. At its narrowest point, the strait is only about 33 kilometers wide. But the actual shipping lanes used by massive oil tankers are much smaller, only a few kilometers across, which means the energy lifeline of the modern world passes through a corridor barely wider than a highway. Every day, something extraordinary happens here. Around 20 million barrels of oil travel through the Strait of Hormuz. That is roughly one-fifth of all oil consumed on Earth. Tankers from major energy exporters move through this route, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar. For many of these countries, the Strait of Hormuz is the only major path to global markets. Without it, their oil simply cannot reach the world. But imagine something unthinkable. What if the Strait of Hormuz suddenly closed? What would happen to the world? The consequences would be immediate. First, energy prices. Blocking the strait could remove millions of barrels of oil per day from the global market. Oil prices could spike dramatically within days. Second, global inflation. Higher oil prices mean higher costs for transportation, manufacturing, electricity, food distribution. The price of everyday goods across the planet could rise. Third, economic disruption. Major economies like China, Japan, South Korea depend heavily on Middle Eastern energy shipped through this route. A prolonged disruption could slow industries, affect global trade, and shake financial markets. Because of its importance, the Strait of Hormuz is also one of the most strategically sensitive waterways in the world. Military forces from different nations monitor the area constantly. Even small incidents in the region can cause oil markets to react instantly. In many ways, the stability of this narrow passage influences the stability of the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a narrow stretch of water. It is a strategic choke point, a place where geography controls the flow of energy that powers modern civilization. If this passage were blocked, even temporarily, the impact would not stay in the Middle East. Oil supplies from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar would struggle to reach global markets. That disruption would ripple outward. Energy prices could surge. Transportation costs would climb. Industries dependent on fuel could slow down. And economies that rely heavily on imported energy from China to Japan and South Korea would feel the pressure first. In a world built on global supply chains, even a short disruption could send shockwaves through financial markets, trade networks, and everyday life. That is why nations patrol these waters, why global powers watch it closely, and why this narrow corridor remains one of the most strategically important places on Earth. Because sometimes, the stability of the global economy depends on a single gateway between two seas. The world often worries about wars, markets, and politics. But sometimes the real power lies in geography, because in the end, the energy that moves our cars, powers our cities, and fuels our economies must pass through a single narrow gate in the sea. And that gate is the Strait of Hormuz.